Hello fellow musicians, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to talk about how the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has a last name, and oh my god, that's like never heard of or thought of before. I always figured that the Turtles had a last name. To be honest, like the Turtles are Splinter. Because regardless of which iteration of Splinter you're having, whether he's like a human turned to a rat or a pet rat turned to like a mutant rat, I always figured that their last name would have been Hamato. Because Hamato Yoshi, I know in like, at least in Japan culture, they often go by like their last name first and their first name last. Kind of like reverse of how like us Americans do things, where our first names will be first and our last names will be last. So it'll be, Japan is like reversed. So I always thought the Ninja Turtles and Splinter's last name was Hamato. That's just me. But let's read this, shall we? The names Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo are immediately recognizable to the vast majority of the public as they belong to the four original members of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Though despite their name recognition, many fans might not know that they do, and in fact have a last name as well. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were first introduced in the Mirage Studios comics of the same name by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. In the original run, the TMNT were normal turtles who were mutated and then adopted by a mutated rat named Master Splinter. Splinter, back when he was a non-mutated rat, was a pet by a martial artist named Hamato Yoshi, who was killed by the Shredder. But before Yoshi was killed, Splinter learned a great deal from him simply by watching Hamato's movements. And upon Splinter's and the Turtles' mutation, he passed that knowledge on to his adopted sons. While the original series explained that they became a found family following their mutation, the history of Splinter and the Turtles doesn't go back any further than a random meeting in the sewers of New York. However, in a newly established canon of IDW Publishing, the relationship between Splinter and the TMNT goes back further and holds much more significance on a cosmic scale. In IDW's publishing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, the Turtles weren't just animals who were mutated and learned martial arts from a rat who was also mutated, but they were actually reincarnations of a family that was murdered long ago in feudal Japan by none other than the Shredder. This new series explains that the Shredder was an ancient conqueror and the leader of the TMNT's Foot Clan in the past rather than a modern assassin like he was in the Mirage Studios version, and that the family he murdered was that of Hamato Yoshi. While Mirage Studios' Hamato Yoshi was merely the previous owner of Splinter before Shredder killed him, IDW's version shows that Yoshi wasn't the owner of Splinter. He was Splinter. And again, in some cases, like, Hamato Yoshi is Splinter. Like in some cases, like in the 1987 run, Hamato Yoshi was a human. He got disgraced out of the Foot Clan. He went to the sewers of New York, and he got mutated into a rat shortly after he found 4 baby turtles that got mutated into turtles. And then there's like I said earlier, how like some cases pretty much where Splinter was a pet rat, and it was just a freak coincidence that he met the Turtles, and they got mutated on that same moment too, pretty much. Anyways, getting back to the article. In feudal Japan, Yoshi had 4 sons, all of whom were killed by the Shredder along with Yoshi himself. However, they wouldn't stay that way. As centuries followed that tragic event, Hamato Yoshi was reincarnated as a rat, and his sons were reincarnated as 4 turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So the Turtles' last name is Hamato. Though the recent IDW TMNT comic run, the Turtles have called themselves the Hamato Clan, but were most fans were most recently reminded of this moniker in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 134 by Sophie Campbell and Pharaoh P. with story consulting by Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz. In this issue, Donatello refers to himself and his brothers as the Hamato brothers, which seems like a pretty insignificant comment due to the fact that fans already knew this information from previous issues, but actually carries with a weight of incredible significance. As at this point of the series, Master Splinter is dead, and the Turtles have slowly grown apart since the formation of Mutant Town. So continuing the legacy of their original family by calling themselves the Hamato brothers not only reinforces the fact that they do, in fact, have a last name, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are a family with a bond that even make time and space cannot break. And again, like I said, I always kind of like, it was just a given that their last name was Hamato, because Splinter was their father. Whether he was like a pet rat or actually Hamato Yoshi, it was pretty evident that their last name would be Hamato. I mean, it was kind of a slap on the nose a bit. But I'm a lifelong Ninja Turtle fan, so I got to understand that it might not have been as obvious to some people as it has been to me. So I got to keep that in mind. But with that said, what do you guys think about this article? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys want to read this, I will have this as the link to this article as a pinned comment down below for you wonderful people to read. With that said, love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. And may the force be with us all. Even though this is not a Star Wars video, I'm still rolling with that outro, even though I messed it up just now. Anyways, later, taters.